Chapter 5, Through the Ship's Heart. The corridors of the Dominion became a nightmare of running battles and desperate escapes. Zephyrian security forces seemed to materialize from every shadow, their crystalline weapons sending bolts of energy that could vaporize a human instantly. The team moved through the ship like ghosts, using their knowledge of human tactics against aliens who had never faced such determined resistance. Elena took point, her SEAL training invaluable in the close-quarters combat that dominated the ship's interior. Her modified weapons proved devastatingly effective against Zephyrian armor, each shot carefully placed to maximize damage while conserving ammunition. Left corridor, she whispered into her comm as they approached another junction. 3 hostiles, maybe 4. David flanked around the other side, moving with the silent grace of a predator. His martial arts training allowed him to take down Zephyrian warriors in hand-to-hand combat, something their sophisticated weapons couldn't protect against. A blade to the right pressure point, and even the most advanced alien technology became useless. Jake's explosives cleared their path when conventional weapons failed. His engineering background allowed him to identify structural weak points in the ship's architecture, bringing down entire sections to block pursuit or create new routes through the vessel. Alex coordinated their movement, his understanding of Zephyrian systems allowing him to hack security doors and disable defensive systems. Next level, he announced, checking his modified scanner. We're 8 levels up, 9 to go. Maya found herself thinking like a physicist even in the midst of combat. The ship's energy systems fascinated her, power flowed through crystalline conduits that seemed to pulse with life, and the artificial gravity remained constant even as they moved through different sections of the massive vessel. The whole ship is one massive organism, she realized, pausing to examine a control panel that seemed to respond to her thoughts. It's not just technology, it's biotechnology. The ship is alive. ZYX-9, still their reluctant guide, moved with them through the chaos. Despite being their prisoner, the aliens seemed genuinely concerned about the destruction they were causing. "You don't understand what you're doing," it said as Jake's latest explosive brought down a section of corridor behind them. "The Dominion is more than a ship, it's a living entity that has served us for millennia. To destroy it would be like killing a god." "Your god is enslaving my people," Maya replied, checking the route ahead. "How much farther to the core?" 6 more levels, ZYX-9 admitted reluctantly. "But the security will become progressively more sophisticated. The upper levels of the spire are protected by our most advanced systems." As if summoned by its words, the corridor ahead of them suddenly filled with a shimmering barrier of energy. Elena's weapons had no effect on it, and Jake's explosives simply absorbed into the field without detonating. "Quantum containment field," Alex diagnosed, running his scanner over the barrier. "It's operating on multiple dimensional frequencies simultaneously. I can't hack it from here." David examined the walls around them, looking for alternative routes. "Air vents?" "Too small for humans," ZYX-9 said. "And monitored by automated defense systems anyway." Maya studied the energy barrier, her mind racing through possibilities. "Alex, can you access the ship's power distribution network?" "Maybe, if I can find a direct interface." Alex began examining the walls, looking for access panels. While he worked, Elena and David maintained watch for pursuing security forces. The ship around them seemed to pulse with increasing urgency, as if aware that intruders had penetrated its most sensitive areas. "Got it," Alex announced, interfacing with what looked like a living crystal embedded in the wall. "The barrier is drawing power from the main grid. If I can redirect that power." The energy field flickered and died. "Clever," ZYX-9 admitted. "But you have also alerted the ship's central intelligence to your presence. It will adapt its defenses now." They pressed forward, climbing through level after level of increasingly alien architecture. The ship's interior became more organic as they ascended, with walls that seemed to breathe and floors that yielded slightly under their feet like living tissue. "This is incredible," Maya said, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. "The integration of biological and mechanical systems is far beyond anything we've achieved." "It should be," ZYX-9 replied. We've had 50,000 years to perfect the technology. On the 14th level, they encountered their first glimpse of the ship's true defenses. Automated guardians, sleek, mechanical versions of the Zephyrians themselves, emerged from hidden alcoves in the walls. These weren't living beings that could be reasoned with or caught off guard, but purpose-built killing machines that moved with inhuman precision. The battle was fierce and costly. Elena's ammunition began to run low as she fought off wave after wave of mechanical attackers. David's martial arts skills were less effective against opponents who felt no pain and had no pressure points. Jake's explosives worked, but the confined space of the corridors made them dangerous to use. There are too many of them, Elena called out, falling back to a defensive position. Maya noticed something about the Guardians' attack patterns. They're being coordinated by a central system. Alex, can you disrupt their command frequency? Alex was already working on the problem, his fingers flying over his portable interface. I need more time. Time we don't have, David said, as more Guardians rounded the corridor behind them. That's when Maya made a desperate decision. Drawing on her knowledge of quantum physics, she began manipulating one of the ship's power conduits. If she could create a feedback loop in the system. Maya, what are you doing? Elena shouted. Creating chaos, Maya replied, completing her modifications to the alien circuitry. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Power surges raced through the ship's systems, causing lights to flicker and mechanical systems to malfunction. The Guardians froze in place as their command systems overloaded, buying the team precious time to advance. Impressive, ZYX9 said. But you're also damaging critical systems. If the power grid fails completely, you'll kill everyone aboard. Including us, Jake pointed out. That's a risk we'll have to take, Maya said grimly. They reached the 15th level to find it completely different from the rest of the ship. Here, the walls were transparent, offering a panoramic view of the Earth below. The sight took Maya's breath away. Her home planet looked so small and vulnerable from this height, partially shrouded in the artificial clouds the Zephyrians had created during their atmospheric modifications. The observation deck, ZYX9 explained. This is where our leaders contemplate the worlds we've helped to transform. But Maya's attention was drawn to something else, a group of figures standing at the far end of the vast chamber. Even at this distance, she could tell they were different from the other Zephyrians they had encountered. Taller, more graceful, with skin that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. The High Council, ZYX9 said quietly. The eldest of our kind, the ones who make decisions about entire worlds. Elena raised her weapon, but David put a hand on her arm. Wait. If they're leaders, maybe we can negotiate. Negotiate? Jake looked at him incredulously. They invaded our world. To save it, one of the High Council members said, approaching them with fluid grace. This Zephyrian was clearly ancient, its features were more refined than the others, and its eyes held depths that spoke of millennia of experience. I am Zephyrian Prime, first among the Council. We have been observing your progress through our ship. Maya stepped forward, her scientific mind fascinated despite the circumstances. You've been watching us? From the moment you entered our vessel. Your tactics are impressive for such a young species. But also unnecessary. We mean your people no harm. Tell that to the millions who died in your attack, Elena said, her weapons still trained on the alien leader. Regrettable, Zephyrian Prime acknowledged. But inevitable. When a surgeon removes a cancer, healthy tissue is sometimes damaged. The alternative would have been the death of the entire patient. Alex looked up from his scanner, alarm clear in his voice. We need to keep moving. I'm detecting massive power buildups throughout the ship. I think they're preparing some kind of weapon. Not a weapon, Zephyrian Prime corrected. A final demonstration. You will see what your world becomes under our guidance, and then you will understand why resistance is futile. The chamber around them began to transform. The transparent walls became screens showing images from across the Earth, cities being rebuilt in gleaming crystal, forests regenerating at impossible speeds, oceans clearing of pollution. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. This is Earth's future, the alien leader continued. Clean, peaceful, perfected. Your species will survive and thrive, but under our direction. The chaos and destruction that characterized your previous civilization will be eliminated. Maya stared at the images, torn between horror and wonder. The world being shown to them was undeniably beautiful, but it was also sterile, devoid of the messy vitality that had always characterized human civilization. What about our freedom? She asked. Our right to choose our own destiny? Freedom is an illusion that young species cling to, Zephyrian Prime replied. True happiness comes from fulfilling one's proper role in the greater design. We will help your people find that role. David stepped forward, his voice deadly quiet. And if we refuse? The alien leader's expression didn't change, but something cold entered its mercury eyes. Then you will learn to accept our help, as all species eventually do. We are patient. We have time. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. This wasn't negotiation, it was a threat wrapped in benevolent language. The Zephyrians truly believed they were saving humanity, which made them even more dangerous than simple conquerors would have been. The core, she said to her companions. We have to reach the core. 2 more levels, ZYX9 said quietly. But the final levels are the most heavily defended. Then we'd better get moving, Elena said, turning toward the ascending passage. But Zephyrian Prime stepped into their path. I cannot allow you to proceed further. The central core is too important to risk. Maya met the alien leader's ancient gaze. Then you'll have to stop us. The final battle was about to begin. Chapter 6, The Heart of Darkness. The confrontation with Zephyrian Prime and the High Council erupted into chaos as Elena opened fire, her modified weapons crackling with energy. The ancient alien leader moved with impossible speed, dodging the energy bolts with fluid grace while its companions began activating defensive systems throughout the chamber. The passage. Maya shouted, pointing to the ascending tunnel that led to the ship's highest levels. Go. David engaged 2 of the council members in hand-to-hand combat, his martial arts training pushed to its absolute limits against opponents who had been perfecting their skills for millennia. His blade work was precise and deadly, but the aliens' reach and speed made them formidable enemies. Jake's explosives cleared a path through the chamber, but the detonations also damaged critical systems. Sparks flew from ruptured conduits, and the chamber's artificial gravity began to fluctuate wildly. The ship's taking critical damage. ZYX9 called out, genuine fear in its voice. If the power core destabilizes. That's what we're here to do, Alex replied, hacking into another control panel to open the passage to the upper levels. Elena fought her way toward the tunnel entrance, covering the others' retreat. Her ammunition was almost gone, and fatigue was beginning to slow her movements. A council member's energy weapon caught her in the shoulder, spinning her around and sending her crashing into a wall. Elena. Maya started to go back for her friend, but Elena waved her off. Go. I'll hold them here. We don't leave anyone behind, David said firmly, abandoning his own fight to help Elena to her feet. You're not leaving me, Elena gasped, leaning on David's shoulder. I'm slowing you down, but I'm not stopping. Zephyrian Prime watched their interaction with something that might have been curiosity. Such loyalty. Perhaps there's more to your species than we initially assessed. You have no idea what we're capable of, Maya said, helping support Elena as they moved toward the passage. Then show me, the alien leader replied, stepping aside. Proceed to the core, if you must. But know that in destroying it, you doom your world to repeat the same mistakes that have plagued your species for millennia. Jake looked at the alien suspiciously. Why are you letting us go? Because you need to see what you're truly choosing to destroy, Zephyrian Prime said sadly. The core is not merely a computer, it is the repository of all our knowledge, all our accumulated wisdom about guiding younger species toward enlightenment. To destroy it would be like burning the greatest library in the galaxy. Maybe some books need to be burned, Maya said, and led her team into the passage. The final 2 levels of the ship were unlike anything they had encountered. The walls seemed to be made of pure energy, shifting and flowing in patterns that hurt to look at directly. The air itself hummed with power, and Maya could feel the hair on her arms standing up from the electrical field surrounding them. "The core chamber," Alex said, checking his scanner. "It's just ahead." But the passage opened not into a room, but into a vast spherical space that seemed to exist outside normal geometry. Floating in the center was a structure that defied description, part crystal, part organic tissue, part pure energy. It pulsed with the rhythm of a heartbeat, and streams of data flowed through it in patterns that resembled neural networks. "My God," Maya breathed. "It's not just a computer. It's a brain." ZYX-9 looked at the core with something approaching reverence. "The consciousness of our ship, the accumulated wisdom of our entire civilization, the guiding intelligence that has helped us save 47 worlds. This is what you would destroy." Jake began setting up his explosives around the chamber's perimeter, but he moved with less certainty than before. "Maya, if this thing is really alive, it's enslaving our entire species," Elena said, though her voice lacked conviction. The beauty and complexity of the core was undeniable. Maya approached the central structure, feeling waves of energy washing over her. As she got closer, she began to hear something, not sound, but direct communication with her mind. "Welcome, Mayachan of Earth. I have been watching your journey with great interest." The voice in her head was neither male nor female, but somehow achingly familiar. It spoke with the wisdom of ages and the sadness of someone who had seen too much. "You seek to destroy me, believing that my death will free your people. But you do not understand what freedom truly costs." "Show me," Maya said aloud, ignoring the concerned looks from her companions. The chamber around them transformed, becoming a window into Earth's possible futures. In one timeline, Maya saw the world Zephyrian Prime had promised, clean, peaceful, perfect. Humanity lived in gleaming cities, their every need provided for, their conflicts resolved through benevolent guidance. But the people in this future moved with a listless quality, as if some essential spark had been extinguished. In another timeline, she saw Earth free from alien influence. Humanity struggled with the same problems they had always faced: war, pollution, inequality, but they faced them with energy and determination. Some succeeded, others failed, but all chose their own paths. "Which future would you choose for your species?" the core asked. "The messy one," Maya said without hesitation. "The one where we make our own mistakes and learn from them. Even if those mistakes lead to your extinction? Even then. Because that's what makes us human, the right to succeed or fail by our own choices." The core pulsed with something that might have been amusement. "You are remarkably similar to another species we encountered long ago. They made the same choice you are making now. What happened to them? They destroyed themselves within 2 centuries. Their planet is now a dead rock orbiting a dying star." Maya felt the weight of that revelation, but her resolve didn't waver. Then that was their choice to make. Just as this is ours. Alex had been monitoring the ship's systems during this conversation, and his voice cut through the philosophical discussion with urgent practicality. "Maya, whatever you're going to decide, decide it now. The Zephyrian fleet is beginning to converge on our position. We have maybe 10 minutes before this place is swarming with their entire military." Elena struggled to her feet, her wounded shoulder making her movements awkward. "The explosives are set. Jake, how long do we need?" 5 minutes for a clean detonation," Jake replied. "But Maya, if this thing is really alive..." "It's a tyrant," David said firmly. "A benevolent tyrant is still a tyrant. Sometimes freedom is worth any price." Maya looked around at her companions, Elena, wounded but still determined, Jake, torn between his mission and his conscience, Alex, focused on their immediate survival, David, calm in the face of impossible odds, and even ZYX-9, watching the proceedings with something that might have been hope. "You would really choose uncertain freedom over guaranteed security?" the core asked one final time. "Yes," Maya said, and stepped back from the central structure. "Jake, light it up." But before Jake could activate the detonators, the chamber filled with Zephyrian warriors. Not the mechanical guardians they had fought before, but living beings led by Zephyrian Prime itself. "I had hoped you would choose wisely," the alien leader said sadly. "But I cannot allow you to destroy something so precious to the galaxy." The final battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin. Chapter 7, The Choice of Ages. The battle in the core chamber was unlike anything they had experienced. The Zephyrian warriors moved with deadly precision, their crystalline weapons sending bolts of energy that could vaporize a human instantly. But the confined space of the chamber worked against them. Their superior numbers meant nothing when they couldn't bring them all to bear at once. Elena, despite her wounded shoulder, fought with the desperate fury of someone who knew this was humanity's last chance. Her modified weapons cut through Zephyrian armor like paper, each shot carefully placed to maximize damage while conserving her dwindling ammunition. David engaged multiple opponents simultaneously, his martial arts training allowing him to use the alien's superior reach against them. He moved like a dancer through the chaos, his blades finding gaps in armor and weak points in alien anatomy. Jake's explosives were useless in the chamber, too much risk of damaging the core before they were ready. Instead, he fought with salvaged Zephyrian weapons, their alien ergonomics making them awkward in human hands but still devastatingly effective. Alex coordinated their efforts while simultaneously trying to hack into the ship's systems. "If I can access the core directly," he called out over the sound of weapons fire, "I might be able to shut down their weapon systems." But the core itself seemed to be fighting back. Energy discharges from the central structure created chaotic electromagnetic fields that interfered with both human and Zephyrian technology. The chamber became a nightmare of crackling energy and strobing lights. Maya found herself face to face with Zephyrian Prime, the ancient alien leader moving with fluid grace despite the chaos around them. Unlike its warriors, it carried no weapon, relying instead on some kind of personal energy field that deflected attacks. "You could have been so much more," it said sadly, dodging Maya's salvaged weapon fire. "Your species shows such promise, but you cling to destructive patterns like a child clinging to a poisonous toy." "Maybe," Maya replied, continuing to circle the alien leader. "But there are patterns to change, not yours to take away. Even if it means the death of your world." Even then, their philosophical duel was interrupted by a cry of pain from Elena. A Zephyrian energy bolt had found its mark, sending her crashing to the chamber floor. David immediately moved to protect her, but more aliens were pouring into the chamber. "Jake!" Maya shouted. "Now! The detonation will kill us all," he replied, hesitating with his finger over the trigger. "Better than letting our world die slowly under their control." But Jake's moment of hesitation was enough. Zephyrian Prime gestured, and some kind of stasis field surrounded the explosives, freezing them at the moment of detonation. The deadly energy was contained, harmless. "No more death," the alien leader said firmly. "There has been enough destruction." Maya felt despair wash over her. They had come so far, sacrificed so much, only to fail at the final moment. Around her, her companions continued fighting, but they were clearly losing. Elena was badly wounded, Alex's equipment was failing, David was facing impossible odds, and Jake's explosives were useless. That's when she heard the core's voice in her mind again. "There's another way." "What?" she asked, not caring that she was speaking aloud in the middle of a battle. "You seek to destroy me to free your people. But destruction is not the only path to change. I could withdraw. Leave your species to find its own way." "Why would you do that?" "Because you have shown me something I had forgotten. The value of choice, even when that choice leads to suffering. Your species reminds me of what we were, long ago, before we became gardeners of the galaxy." Maya stared at the pulsing core, hardly daring to hope. "You would really leave? Just like that?" "Not just like that. There would be conditions. Your world has been damaged by our intervention. Some changes cannot be undone. But we would cease our active guidance and allow your species to determine its own future. The atmospheric modifications, the rebuilt cities, would remain. Consider them parting gifts. Your world is cleaner and more sustainable than it was before our arrival. What you do with that gift is up to you. Around them, the battle was beginning to wind down. The Zephyrian warriors had overwhelmed the human team through sheer numbers, but they had refrained from delivering killing blows. Even now, Zephyrian Prime approached with something that might have been respect. Your courage is admirable, the alien leader said. But futile. Surrender now, and your people will be treated with the dignity they deserve as they learn to accept our guidance. Maya looked at her captured companions, then at the pulsing core that claimed it was willing to withdraw. Could she trust an alien intelligence that had already enslaved her world? Or was this just another form of manipulation? Prove it, she said to the core. If you're really willing to leave, show us. The response was immediate and dramatic. Throughout the chamber, Zephyrian technology began shutting down. The warriors' weapons went dead in their hands, the lights dimmed, and even the artificial gravity began to fluctuate. Zephyrian Prime staggered as its personal energy field collapsed. For the first time since they had met, the ancient alien looked vulnerable. What have you done? It demanded, turning toward the core. I have chosen to listen to these humans, the core replied, its mental voice now audible to everyone in the chamber. They have reminded me of something we lost long ago, the wisdom to know when not to act. You cannot be serious, Zephyrian Prime said. These primitives will destroy themselves within generations. Perhaps. But that is their choice to make. Elena struggled to her feet, supported by David. Are you saying you'll really leave? Just pull back your ships and go. The process has already begun, the core confirmed. Our fleet is receiving withdrawal orders. The occupation of Earth will end. Jake looked at his now harmless explosives with something approaching disappointment. All that preparation for nothing. Not for nothing, Maya said. We proved that humans won't give up their freedom without a fight. Maybe that's what convinced them to listen. Alex was monitoring the ship's communications with his modified equipment. It's true. The entire fleet is powering down their weapons and beginning to withdraw from Earth's atmosphere. But Zephyrian Prime wasn't finished. You are making a mistake, it said to the core. These humans will repeat the same errors that led to their civilization's near collapse. War, pollution, the destruction of their biosphere, all of it will return. Maybe, Maya acknowledged. But we'll face those challenges as free beings. And maybe we'll find better solutions than we did before. Your optimism is touching but naive, the alien leader replied. Freedom is chaos. Order is peace. Order without choice is death, David said simply. We'd rather live chaotically than die peacefully. ZYX9, who had remained silent throughout the battle, finally spoke. Perhaps there's wisdom in what they say. We have guided so many species, but have we truly helped them? Or have we simply created beautiful cages for them to live in? Zephyrian Prime turned on its subordinate with something approaching anger. You would question millennia of accumulated wisdom? I would question the wisdom of imposing our will on others, no matter how benevolent our intentions, ZYX9 replied steadily. The core's mental voice filled the chamber once more. The decision is made. We withdraw. Earth's future belongs to humanity alone. Chapter 8, Exodus. The withdrawal of the Zephyrian fleet was as swift and efficient as their arrival had been 3 months earlier. From the observation deck of the Dominion, Maya watched as the massive ships began to rise through Earth's atmosphere, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they prepared to leave the solar system forever. It's really happening, Elena said, her wounded arm in a sling but her spirit intact. They're actually leaving. Around them, Zephyrian technicians moved with quiet purpose, preparing their ship for the long journey to whatever distant star they would call home next. Some of them looked at the human visitors with curiosity, others with something that might have been regret. Where will you go? Maya asked ZYX9, who had remained with them during the Exodus preparations. Far from here, the alien replied. There are other worlds, other species that might benefit from our guidance. Though perhaps we will be more circumspect in our methods. Alex was recording everything with his modified equipment, documenting humanity's first contact with an alien species for future generations. This changes everything. We know we're not alone in the universe now. That's both a blessing and a curse, David observed. There might be other species out there, ones not as benevolent as the Zephyrians claimed to be. Jake had been examining the alien technology that would be left behind when the fleet departed. At least we'll be better prepared. The atmospheric processors, the energy systems, the medical technology, we can adapt all of this for our own use. But carefully, Maya warned. We need to integrate it with human values, not let it change who we are. Zephyrian Prime approached them as they prepared to return to Earth's surface. The ancient alien leader looked older somehow, as if the decision to withdraw had aged it centuries. You have won a great victory, it said formally. Your species will be free to determine its own fate. It was never our victory to win, Maya replied. Freedom isn't something that can be given or taken away, it's something that exists or doesn't exist. Philosophical to the end, the alien mused. Perhaps that is what we forgot in our long guardianship of the galaxy. The value of questions without answers. Elena stepped forward, extending her hand in the human gesture of peace. Maybe someday our species will meet again, as equals rather than as conquerors and conquered. Zephyrian Prime looked at the offered hand for a long moment, then reached out with its own silver appendage. The contact was brief, but significant, the first peaceful gesture between their species. Perhaps, it agreed. Though I suspect it will be your children who travel to the stars to find us, rather than our returning to find you. The return to Earth's surface was accomplished via the same shuttle they had originally hijacked, though now it flew with the full permission and assistance of the Zephyrian fleet. As they descended through the atmosphere, Maya watched the world transform once again, but this time, it was changing back. The crystal structures the aliens had built began to shift and adapt, becoming more recognizably human in their architecture. The atmospheric processors continued their work of cleaning the air and water, but they did so according to parameters that would support human civilization rather than replace it. They're leaving us the tools, she realized. But not the instructions. We'll have to figure out how to use them ourselves. The way it should be, Elena agreed. They landed in Central Park, where General Webb and thousands of other survivors were waiting. The cheers that greeted them were deafening, not just for their successful mission, but for the sight of the alien fleet departing Earth's skies. Is it really over? Webb asked as the team disembarked from the shuttle. The occupation is over, Maya said. But our real work is just beginning. We have a world to rebuild, and this time we have to do it right. Over the following weeks, as the last of the Zephyrian ships disappeared into the depths of space, humanity began the long process of reconstruction. The alien technology left behind proved invaluable: energy systems that could power entire cities without pollution, medical devices that could heal previously incurable diseases, and manufacturing processes that could create materials stronger than anything previously known. But perhaps more importantly, the occupation had changed humanity itself. The shared experience of resistance had united the species in ways that previous crises had never achieved. Nations that had been enemies worked together to rebuild and plan for the future. The petty conflicts that had plagued human civilization seemed trivial compared to the greater challenges they now faced. We've been given a second chance, Maya said during one of the planning sessions in the rebuilt United Nations building. The question is what we do with it. Elena, now serving as head of the newly formed Earth Defense Initiative, outlined plans for monitoring the skies and preparing for the possibility of future alien contact. We won't be caught off guard again. But we also won't assume that every visitor comes in peace. Jake had become instrumental in reverse engineering Zephyrian technology for human use. The key is adaptation, not adoption, he explained to the International Science Council. We take what we need and modify it to serve human purposes, not the other way around. Alex worked on establishing communication networks that could reach beyond Earth's solar system. If we're going to be part of a galactic community, we need to be able to talk to our neighbors. David trained the new generation of defenders, teaching them not just combat techniques but the philosophy behind their mission. We protect freedom, he told his students. Not just for ourselves, but for any species that chooses to live free. Chapter 9, New Beginnings. 1 year after the departure of the Zephyrian fleet, Maya stood in her rebuilt laboratory at Columbia University, working on experiments that would have been impossible before the alien occupation. The quantum manipulation techniques she had learned from studying Zephyrian technology had opened up entirely new fields of physics. Dr. Chen, her new research assistant, called from across the lab. The dimensional resonance readings are off the charts. I think we're actually detecting parallel realities. Maya smiled as she examined the data. Her original research into parallel dimensions had been proven correct. There were indeed multiple realities existing simultaneously. But more than that, she was beginning to understand how to communicate between them. Imagine if we could contact other versions of Earth, she mused. Realities where humanity made different choices, faced different challenges. The thought was both exciting and terrifying. If parallel dimensions existed, then there might be realities where the Zephyrian occupation had never ended, where humanity had chosen security over freedom. There might also be realities where humanity had found even better solutions to their problems. A knock at the laboratory door interrupted her thoughts. Elena entered, wearing the uniform of the Earth Defense Force but carrying a bottle of champagne and wearing a broad grin. Celebrating something? Maya asked. The Mars colony ship launched successfully this morning, Elena announced. Humanity's first interstellar vessel, built with a combination of human engineering and adapted Zephyrian technology. We're finally reaching for the stars on our own terms. Maya felt a surge of pride and hope. The Mars mission was just the beginning. Humanity was finally ready to expand beyond Earth, to explore the galaxy as free beings rather than as the subjects of alien guardians. Any word from our observers in the outer system? She asked. Nothing yet, Elena replied. But Alex thinks he's detected some kind of signal from the direction the Zephyrians went. Could be them, could be someone else entirely. They were joined by Jake, David, and Alex, all of them having prospered in the year since the occupation ended. Jake had become the lead engineer for the new space program. David headed the philosophical council that helped guide humanity's expansion into space, and Alex had established the first interplanetary communication network. The anniversary ceremony was beautiful, David said, referring to the memorial service they had all attended that morning. The president's speech about freedom and responsibility really captured what we've learned. Hard to believe it's only been a year, Jake added. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. In some ways, it was, Maya replied. We're not the same species we were before the Zephyrians arrived. The occupation changed us, but not in the way they intended. Alex was monitoring his communication equipment even as they talked, always alert for signs of activity from beyond Earth's solar system. Speaking of change, I've been analyzing the patterns in that signal from the outer system. It's definitely artificial, but it's not Zephyrian. Another species? Elena asked, her military instincts immediately alert. Maybe. Or maybe it's coming from farther away than we thought. The signal characteristics suggest it might be from outside our galaxy entirely. Maya felt a familiar thrill at the prospect of new discoveries. Whatever it is, we'll face it as free beings. That's what matters. They raised their glasses in a toast to the future, uncertain but chosen, dangerous but free. Around them, the rebuilt Earth continued its work of healing and growth, guided not by alien wisdom but by human determination. To freedom, Maya said. To the future, Elena added. To the choices we make, David continued. To the unknown, Jake contributed. To humanity, Alex finished. As the sun set over the rebuilt city, the five friends stood together, looking toward the stars. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrians were continuing their mission of guided evolution, helping other species achieve their version of perfection. Somewhere else, other alien civilizations were making their own choices about how to live and grow. And on Earth, humanity was writing its own story, messy, chaotic, uncertain, but utterly and completely free. The future was theirs to shape, and they wouldn't have it any other way. Epilogue, Legacy. 5 years after the Zephyrian withdrawal, Mayachin stood on the observation deck of the first human starship to leave the solar system. The vessel was a marvel of hybrid technology, human creativity merged with adapted alien science to create something entirely new. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she could see Earth falling away behind them, a blue marble suspended in the cosmic dark. The planet looked healthy now. The atmospheric modifications the Zephyrians had left behind had continued their work, giving humanity a clean, sustainable world to build upon. Second thoughts? Elena asked, joining her at the observation port. Her friend had chosen to remain on Earth, directing the planetary defense systems that would protect their home world from future threats. Not a chance, Maya replied. We've learned everything we can from the technology they left behind. Now it's time to find our own answers among the stars. The mission was ambitious, a 5-year journey to the nearest star system where Alex's long-range scanners had detected signs of technological activity. If they were lucky, they would make contact with another spacefaring civilization. If they were unlucky, they would at least prove that humanity could survive and thrive in the depths of space. The quantum drive is performing perfectly, Jake reported from the engineering section. He had insisted on joining the mission personally, unwilling to trust humanity's first interstellar journey to anyone else. We should reach Alpha.